Hi everyone and welcome to my place. Aren't these little kale flowers so beautiful? I was at the flower market the other day and I overheard a couple of ladies saying, who would want to arrange with a cabbage? Well, with that I said, actually they're kale and they look beautiful with these roses. So we had a bit of a chat and they asked what you could do with them. So I promised that I would show them how to do a lovely arrangement with kale flowers, some roses, a few berries and a little bit of gum. I've got this beautiful container here which I've had for a long time. It's pretty much just terracotta and I've done a paint finish over it. Have a look at Annie Sloane's white chalk paint because that's pretty much what it was. So I just put the paint all over it, then I hit it with a little bit of water and then I've hit it with a little bit of sandpaper to just rough it up. It's a beautiful container and the reason I'm going to use this today is because when you look into the little kale flowers, you'll see that they've got the little markings down there, which to me is sort of like a grey, sort of a whitey base colour, which is going to reflect beautifully in with the colour finish of my container. And I think if you get stuck, just look at what nature has done. And I think I can probably show you a little bit better here. Look at the stem here and that lovely whitey, greeny, sort of sagey, goes through to a bit of sagey green and then the colourways into the container, so it just picks itself up. And with the smoothness here and the roughness here, I think that this is going to be a really lovely combination of forms and colour together and textures. Right, look at the size of this, for goodness sake. I'm going to find out who grows these because I think I want to find out how they grow. So the first thing you've got to do is to cut them, and I've got 5 stems here, and I'm also going to remove some of these leaves here. Depending on the design that you were doing, you might just leave a few more of those on, but to me, I don't really want those. I want the lovely little head that to me resembles a little rose. And you know, people say to me, well, how can you say that that's a rose? Well, when I look into that, I can see like a little bud in there and the petals are all unraveling or opening up, just like, let me just get you right, just like a rose does. Look at that. So that's how I don't know what's wrong with my mind and why my mind does what it does, but that's how I see things. It's like shapes that all connect together. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a little bit, into the cavity of my urn here, I've just shoved in a piece of wet foam for fresh flowers. And I'm just going to push a couple of bits of that in and around the side. I'm not worrying about it being all neat and even. I just wanted something with the gum just to make, pretty much all I'm going to do with this is, it's just another shape to fill in, and I also want it to look as if it's actually naturally occurring. Now, when I look into this gum here, I'm starting to notice these little bits here, the new growth, are starting to sort of like bend down. And when I feel them, that's really quite soft. I know, because of my years of experience, that isn't actually going to last. So I'm going to discard that right now because I love, see how these bits here are all sort of sitting up nice and straight? That new growth is going to continue to just droop. So if in doubt, leave it out at this stage. So I'll just put that down there, and I've got enough anyway. And you don't, for this type of design, you don't really need a lot of very much, but and it's just sort of like another visual and texture. And also when you look into the grey, it actually reflects through to some of the grey that I've got on the side here, and with whites and the greens, like the colours that I've got, they're all sort of like quite paley, sort of washed outy colours, if you get my drift. And I'll just put that up into there, and I'm just hoping that these little bits here do actually hold their shape, and if they don't, I'll just trim those off after. Now I've got these lovely berries here. Now these are artificial, but it will be fine for the design that we're doing today because these forms, they've got a little plastic coating on them, so putting that into the foam isn't going to make it go rusty. And I really should be using wire cutters for cutting those, but I don't have any. But you might have some fresh berries at your place that you could actually incorporate. And you could even, I have seen some red Gadisha berries that could work quite nicely as well. Now I've only got 3 bits, and around here I want to put that there, but if I put that there, I'm not going to have it into this little space over here. So what I'll do with these is I'll just separate that just very slightly so that I can put that down into there, and I've actually stepped it up just a little bit. So I want something that's sort of like a little bit of classic but a little bit of informal as well. Right, let's put the roses in now. I'm leaving the bigger forms until later, because I just know that it's going to be easier to fill in those spaces. So I'm just bringing it up a little bit higher, and I'm leaving, as I'm placing the roses, I'm sort of like stepping them up and through into the design. I've actually also taken off quite a few of the leaves of the roses because they were damaged, and I just know that they're not going to last anyway. So if you think that if they're not visually looking right, just whip them out. And everything has been all slant cut so that it makes it easier for these to get in. I'm going to put a little shorter one down into there, cut that as well. So I've got a shorter one there, I'll bring a shorter one over into there, cut that, bring that little one down into there. And then with this one, I'll bring that up and in and over to there. And now it's just a matter of cutting these to size and inserting them. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. I love these forms. And I hope that the 2 ladies who were watching, where I was talking to, actually are able to see this. In fact, I know that they go to the market every week anyway, so I'll just be able to tell them about these, tell them that it's actually up and online. I've got one more, and actually because that's quite thick, do make sure that all of those little thick hunky bits have all been removed, and you might even like to get a knife into there and to just pare those back if you're having trouble getting them in. Put that one down into there. So, and the great thing about the kale is they will continue to open up, which is fantastic. And I've got one left, so I'm just going to put that down and into there. So how's that for a lovely design with just a few little textures, a few forms to build up to a beautiful picture? This I know will last, with the kale and the gum will last a long time. As the roses die off, what I can do is I can just replace those with something else. And I'm actually thinking that the other component that would be nice in that would be some white alstroemeria or even some nice big white lilies. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed sharing it with you, and I look forward to seeing you all again another day.